Hey yo, Paul here. Today we're going to talk about the basics of tasting coffee. And this is a really interesting topic because I am going to be frank here. I used to be a horrible taster before I got into coffee. I kind of took my taste buds for granted and I didn't think too much about it. And the only way I could kind of differentiate coffee was if it was good tasting or bad tasting. Throughout my days as a barista, I realized that this top level of tasting just doesn't give coffee enough justice. We really need to understand how to taste coffee to then really appreciate coffee. How does tasting work? Well, we eat every day, so we should probably know this, but it's not as simple as you think. Let's first go through the role that your tongue has in tasting. Your tongue experiences basic characteristics like sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami. You've probably seen this tongue chart that showcases different regions on the tongue that are linked to specific characteristics of tasting. Guess what? This has been debunked. The 5 tastes can actually be sensed by all parts of the tongue. The 2 things to keep in mind is that the sides of your tongue are more sensitive, and the back of your tongue is especially sensitive to bitterness. The role that your mouth plays when tasting is that it understands mouthfeel. So the mouthfeel is how viscous something is, or the texture of something. Is it like water texture, or is it like 10% fatty milk texture? Is it a smooth and silky taste, or is it a gritty and rough textured taste? The more nuances come from the olfactory nerves, which is located inside your mouth on the roof of it. And the way the olfactory nerves work is that it is linked to the sense of smell. These olfactory nerves are what defines the taste and actually differentiates it from other tastes. So the sweetness and sourness of an apple could be the same as an orange. However, these olfactory nerves are what defines it as an apple and an orange. So have you ever realized that when you get sick, you lose the sense of taste? Well, that is because the olfactory nerves are blocked. Your nose is like stuffed up. And that's why you can't taste any specific flavors. However, you can taste something very basic, like something being sweet or salty. Now that we have a basic understanding of how our sense of taste works, let's look at different ways that we can grow, practice, and improve our sense of taste. The first thing that I want to mention is that your nose canal, it needs to be open. You remember how I just mentioned that being sick inhibits your sense of taste? Well, just having a blocked nose does the same thing. There are a lot of different ways to clear up your nasal passage. One of them is with a neti pot. Another way is to use a balm of sorts like Vicks or Tiger Balm that uses menthol that is very refreshing for your nose. Just put a bit right under your nose and experience your nose open up right away. Also, just blowing your nose right before tasting something is a great way to open that passage up. This next tip is to smell before you taste. Your nose is a powerful tool, and I want you to give it a bit more context of what you'll be tasting before you actually taste it. Tasting is also a very instantaneous thing. You chew it and then you swallow it. But smelling, you can keep on smelling forever and really understand that specific scent with more sniffs. Before moving forwards with this video, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, myself, and Patreon. Patreon is a great way to support the content creators you love on a monthly basis. As a Patreon, you also get some unique perks like coffee chats, downloadable brewing charts, live streams, and more. Recently I posted about growing mushrooms and home roasting with a bread maker and heat gun. Both of these topics will eventually become videos on this very channel. Join us at www.patreon.com/brewinghabits. You've probably seen people who do cupping that slurp their coffee. And you might think that it's slightly obnoxious. However, I want you to understand the benefits of slurping. As you slurp, the liquid cools down, making it easier to distinguish taste. The The Slurp also sprays the liquid all around in your mouth, maximizing the surface area that it touches. Now, you don't need to slurp to experience and enjoy your coffee. However, to get the same effects, why don't you let your coffee cool down a bit and also swish it around in your mouth? Does the same thing. We eat and drink food all the time, so why aren't our taste buds amazing? Well, you really need to add an extra step to the eating, which is thinking about what you're tasting and understanding that taste to then grow your taste buds. So I want you to try to eat a bit slower and really understand the characteristics of what you're tasting. When you're tasting something and you don't have a lot of descriptors for it, or you don't taste a lot of things, think about the things that are missing. Is it missing sweetness? Does it not have any acidity? Is the mouthfeel extremely quick and is lost? Descriptors don't always need to be the exact thing that you're tasting. Sometimes it could be the void of what you're tasting. Try things that are outside of your comfort zone so that you grow your taste buds by experiencing different things. Another way to improve the range of things that you're tasting is to try foods at different stages of their life. So for example, a banana, you can taste it as a underripe banana, a ripe banana, and as a overripe banana. And all of these stages will have different characteristics to their tastes. Now let's grow our taste through growing our vocabulary. Two people can drink the same cup. One person can say that it's a good, delicious cup of coffee. The other one, tasting the exactly same thing, can say that it's a low acidic cup with a great mouthfeel, has kind of like a stone fruit acidity, and also a medium sweetness to it. Both these people tasted the same cup, liked it as much. However, one person was able to put what they tasted into words. This is a really important part of growing your taste buds. To not only link what you're tasting to past food experiences, but also having the ability to verbally describe that experience. Another thing to consider is that whenever you're tasting something, you're usually tasting it in isolation, like a cup of coffee, or a chocolate bar, or a fruit. A way better way of tasting, if you want to practice, is to taste multiple things at the same time, so that you can compare between them. And this is why people do cupping sessions. So instead of just trying to describe that one cup of coffee in specific words, you can instead try to describe the differences between two cups of coffee. The next thing here is to ignore flavor notes that are on a coffee bag and try to make your own decisions on what you're tasting. A lot of the times when words are being put into our brain as we're tasting, we just gravitate towards the things that are closest to us, and we kind of like parrot whatever was said on the bag or whatever someone else mentions. Instead, really try to form your own opinions of what you're tasting. I hope you've learned something cool and interesting about your own taste buds. Being able to taste is really a skill that we should be honing and practicing so that we can appreciate coffee to its highest extent. And I really hope that some of these tips and tricks and methods that I've outlined in this video will allow you to do so. If you like this type of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And until next time, peace.